Good afternoon. Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Bill Everman from PKA Marketing in both Mequon and Kenosha. Thanks for jumping on, Bill.
Thanks for having me, Stacie.
It's my pleasure. So what we're going to do today is we're going to share what your business does with our clients and community, and I'm going to ask you 6 questions. Is that okay?
I think we can manage that, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Okay. So when people ask you what PKA Marketing does, how do you describe it?
Yeah, and there's a risk of falling into a number of different cliche terms that people use to describe marketing terms. If we were to use the most common one that people use, we would say that we're a fully integrated marketing communications agency. And that is absolutely true. We started out as a creative agency when Bruce Prom founded it a number of years ago now. And we've evolved through the work with our clients and through just the changing nature of multimedia and media and advertising into a truly much more broad marketing communications firm where we work in content creation, public relations, media buying, and typically all to feed that content beast that so many companies deal with now with all of the addition of channels of communications. And so it's a little something different every day, but that's a little bit about who we are.
Yeah, that's super exciting. That's what marketing is. It's constantly evolving and changing, and it is different. So you're able to tackle a lot of those different areas and help your clients. Is that correct?
Yeah, and so I think that's what if there's a differentiator or thing that I take pride in the work we do, it's the understanding of I think so many people get caught up in, well, we need to create an ad, or we need to create this piece of content, or we need to do a photo shoot. And then it's created for a single purpose. I think what we do well and what we work with our clients on is the full expansion of, all right, you've created this one thing. Now in this universe where there's 40 channels of marketing communications, how does that ladder up to and work with each one? And we've done I think, not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think we've done a good job over the years in showing people just how far that kind of content and creative creation can go. And it's worked wonders for us.
That's excellent. And yes, you should pat yourself on the back when you're doing stuff right. And your clients are sure doing the same thing as well. So when you started the business, or Mr. Prom started the business, how
Yeah,
has everything changed since it started? Could you elaborate on that?
well, I think that tells the story a little bit about how we got here. So when Bruce Prom founded the agency, it was strictly a creative agency. Bruce Prom is a creative director. So everything that you would think of in that traditional creative sense, from advertisements to posters, to billboards, to you name it, anything that falls in kind of that traditional creative execution, the agency did. But as times have changed and as the communications needs of the clientele that we work with have changed, that started to expand, and it expanded into media buying and direct communications and public relations. And now with the way that things have evolved here just in the last few years, it's been part of the evolution as the industry has changed, as our clients have changed, and as the way that we consume media has changed.
Absolutely. And probably even with that, when COVID hit, just having to adapt during that as well, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, and that's actually I'm sitting here in our new studio in Kenosha, and that you hit the nail on the head. We were forced with the prospects of figuring out, people still had a desire to consume content. People still had a need to communicate, especially in the industries we serve. A lot of the industries we serve didn't slow down. Many were essential services that had to keep moving. And with that, we found kind of new and exciting ways through live broadcasts, virtual events, broader communications platforms that we hadn't explored before. And that's ultimately what led to our building out and creation of this studio here in Kenosha, because it was an event like COVID, which none of us saw coming. It became about pivoting and springboarding into the next thing. And we still are very focused on the core work that we've always done, but this is exactly that type of evolution.
So when you talk about some of the essential businesses that you serve, do you want to elaborate on that at all? Not to limit yourself, but to kind of
Yeah.
explain it more.
No, I think we have a very strong niche in the business to business world. Specifically, if you are buying capital equipment or capital goods for the purpose of helping your business make money,
Mhm.
those are the industries that we serve. So, construction, we from road building to oil and gas to residential and building construction, those manufacturers that create products that sell into those businesses is a big part of what we do. Farming and agriculture. Farming didn't stop. Agriculture didn't stop, and those are our clients and the networks that we sell into or we market to. Construction, manufacturing, agriculture. Really anything again where people are using capital goods to make money and create jobs and kind of build the world around us. That's what we do.
Sure. Well, and so I'm going to go on to the next question. What is the biggest way you impact the community? And you've already touched on that right there, us being in a manufacturing
Yeah.
metropolis and, agriculture, everything. But what are other big ways that you impact the community?
Well, I think there's a couple of ways. I think one, right, we're well suited just to the organic nature of who the greater Milwaukee, southeastern Wisconsin area is as a people. We're very well built into that. But you look at we have as an agency, as a company ourselves, we have a commitment to giving back to our local communities. We have worked for a long time with Mel's Charities out of Ozaukee County there, and really in a way that helps communicate their goals and initiatives and things to the community, not only in Ozaukee County but throughout all of southeastern Wisconsin. And Tom Stanton, Mel there at Mel's Charities, does a phenomenal job of supporting. Typically, it's special needs, health services, community improvement projects that they work on. And our creative teams and our whole team in MEC1, they're extremely proud of that relationship. We've done extensive work in the areas of infrastructure development and investment, disaster response, things of those nature that go beyond selling a product, and talk about how the companies we work with make a better world. So those are a few ways that we help improve the community.
That's brilliant. Yeah. And I've heard so many statistics about how people are actually purchasing based on what businesses, brands do, especially millennials moving forward. They'd rather work for a company that has good values. People complain about that, but really, it's ultimately making our world a better place when we focus on those positive things and how we're impacting the community. So thank you for highlighting that.
Yeah, it's all about relating to people in ways that go beyond just the day-to-day mechanics of their work. And
Yes.
I think we try to incorporate that into much of what we do.
That's beautiful. What is one challenge you have faced that other business owners could learn from?
You mentioned COVID. I think that one of the things that Bruce and I are most proud of as business owners is that we made it through COVID. We didn't lay a single person off. We didn't reduce any salaries, even though we had clients reducing budgets and taking cuts as COVID exploded.
Mhm.
Let our clients know that there were ways to communicate and work even in this environment. And so I'm proud of obviously the fact that we didn't lose anybody and that we kept salaries at what they were throughout COVID. But
Wow.
part of doing that was that realization that you need to evolve, you need to pivot, you need to go beyond what you think of as your normal day-to-day. Business evolution within kind of the world that you already exist is a
Mhm.
continued challenge, especially in the marketing and advertising space where things are changing on a day-to-day basis, even hour to hour. And so having that kind of evolution, growing and building a business like this, and I can't stress enough diversification. In this
Okay.
space right now, it's easy to get really locked into, we do one thing or we work for one client or our specialty is this one thing.
Mhm.
And when that changes or the client changes or the direction changes, is that focus on diversifying our portfolio, diversifying the work we do so that no one thing in business is going to harm us in a debilitating way. That there's always pivoting and always growth that we can manage in other places. So those are two that I think, as I look at the landscape today, are pertinent.
Yeah, those are really, really important points. Thank you so much for clarifying that and bringing that up again. What do you think the future looks like for you, and do you have an exit plan?
I'm 43 years old. I have no exit plan. We are in growth. We are in the growth stage, and we are in the kind of to steal a phrase from the Packers head coach. Well, not right now. The Packers aren't doing so well right now, but Matt LaFleur once famously said, "All gas, no brakes," and that's kind of where we're at right now. We are in a growth and development phase. As we mentioned, we're here in our new studio in Kenosha. The growth and the expansion, obviously, we talk about being in this manufacturing and industrial space. The growth up and down the I-94 corridor, we see great need and demand for a facility like this. And so we're continuing to look beyond the traditional footprint of where I think people consider marketing and communications agencies to live, and looking at ways to grow and expand that for our current client base and new clients as well. We're growing every day, and could I see myself questioning that 25 employee limit and seeing us grow a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit bigger.
Okay.
But I've worked at big agencies. I've worked at agencies with 150 to 200 people, and I have no interest in doing that. I think we excel in this space that we're in, and by having more of that personal relationship with our clients versus being a large company. So
That's very, very interesting. So do you think, would you push it to 30, 35? Like you talk about getting right at that ceiling?
I think we could get to 30, 35, but again, we with us, it's more about the relationships. It's more about having, what always bothers me about this business that we're in, advertising and marketing, is often there's a polished new business person that comes in and does the pitch. And then when you win the business, it's handed off to people you haven't met, or it's handed off to a junior person 1 year out of school. Not that there's wrong with junior people 1 year out of school.
Sure.
We don't do that. We focus on the people you meet, the people you talk to, or the people you're going to work with on a day-to-day basis. And if we keep our groups smaller, that's easier to do. And so, yeah, could I see it pushing 30, 35? Sure. But ask me in 5 years.
Very good. I will. Absolutely. Because once we establish relationships, we do want to keep them and nurture
Absolutely.
them. The last question I have for you is, all subjects open, what inspires you most?
Really, it's the work. We in the branding, we're calling this the True North Studio. And as we talk about what that True North brand means, we've been known to say that it's not about us. It's not even about you. It's about the work. And in focusing on the work and the good work that our clients and our people do, whether it's for their true business relationships, whether it's in the community, that's the kind of stuff that gets me excited on a day-to-day basis, and to be able to help businesses tell those stories and communicate in that way. Stuff that gets me excited is when we're out in the field with our clients and seeing how they're putting their products and solutions to work, helping tell those stories and capture them in unique ways. That's what keeps us excited. And I tend to just attack this thing with a sense of optimism, and that much of this business world that we live in is going to be, it's going to evolve how we make it evolve. There's a lot of will. There's a lot of effort that we can put into making this thing be what we want it to be and what it should be. And I'm not just talking about our business. I'm talking about the business world that we live in as a whole. It's easy to get, talk about, inflation's going to do this, or the economy is going to do this, or we're going into a recession. All those things may be true, but we're all still going to be here. So what are the things that we can do for our employees, for our people, for the industries that we work in, still create positive impacts and positive outcomes? And that's the kind of thing that inspires me every day.
You are so right about that. Yeah. And as we go through inflation, recession, it's happened before, it's going to happen again. But how you can tackle it is with your mindset. And you being a creative, you can see how positive you are and how you want to uplift and inspire people. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you got to be right, because there's only one other solution, and where's that going to get you? So
Exactly. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
I'm easy to find. I'm the only Bill Everman on LinkedIn, I believe. So easy to find there. And then email is always a good way as well. And that's bill@pkamar.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Bill.
Thank you for having me, Stacie. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.